I was actually going to do another mid-2019 review of the iPhone 5S like I'm doing with the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus, but I figured I would just not even do it because it's just going to be such a corny video. I don't feel like doing that. And instead, I wanted to make another corny video. This video is probably going to be even cornier than that, to be honest, but I kind of wanted to make it separate because obviously, like, this phone, if you have a choice, you should go get a better phone. Like, I think at a point, yes, it's worth it, like, if you're still using it, but as a whole, you should probably go do yourself a favor, get a better phone. But this isn't really about that. I kind of want to talk about, like, even though the iPhone 5S did end, like, yes, it ended totally, like, iOS is probably not going to, it's not going to get another version of iOS unless Apple pulls, like, an iPhone 5 or 4S where they randomly push an update, like, 4 years down the line. But I want to say, like, even though it did end, even though it's not getting software supports, I think it's okay. I think it's not a bad thing at all, especially for a device like the iPhone 5S. Now, the first thing I want to say is the build quality of this phone is still superb. This is one of the best built phones in my opinion. Obviously, the Galaxy S10 and iPhone XS Max are way better built than this, but the way this phone feels, I mean, obviously it's just like the iPhone 5S, but this phone just had something else to it. I think it was just a somewhat minimalistic design with the fingerprint sensor up front, and I can't believe I just dropped it. But just the overall build quality and how it felt is just so amazing, and I literally love that so much about it. And I think that's definitely a pro. Even though this isn't about software, the hardware has been the same since its release. I think it's one of the best features of this phone, and one of the reasons when we look back on a phone, I think it's a really cool thing to bring up just what this phone manufacturer was thinking at the time. And even though it was just like the iPhone 5, this one is definitely in its own league. And I've even said, like, maybe like 2 years ago that the iPhone 5S was one of my favorite design phones ever, and I still think that. And it's definitely not the fastest phone or anything either. Like, obviously, it can handle what you throw at it for the most part, but it's definitely not going to, be like to get you to the moon and back. Like, it'll get you to point A to point B and kind of do everything that you need it to be, but just at a slower pace. It still has pretty much all the features as the newest iPhones. Obviously not portrait mode on the camera or force touch or anything, but it still does, the job in my opinion. Now, software-wise, that's one of the biggest things I wanted to hit on. And I think a lot of people were kind of, not surprised that this phone didn't get iOS 13. And I was right there. Like, I knew this phone wasn't going to get it, obviously. But some people were actually more shocked the 6 and 6 Plus didn't get iOS 13, including me. I knew it wasn't going to get it, but I thought the iPad Air 2 wasn't going to get it either, but whatever, that's a whole different story. The point is, on iOS 12.4, if this is the last version, which it probably is, unless they release a 12.4.1, which is not going to be that big of a difference, Apple, I think, did a really smart thing by dropping support at iOS 12, and this phone was actually technically supposed to be dropped at on iOS 11, but Apple knew that it was not the smartest thing for them to do because iOS 11 wasn't that good. It just really wasn't, to be honest, and they didn't want to leave like a tarnished legacy for an iOS version like that. So Apple went ahead, did the super smart thing, updated all the devices to iOS 12, which wasn't a humongous upgrade. Yes, we got like group notifications and some other small things like that, but ultimately it wasn't really that big of an update in terms of a feature standpoint. That was almost 100% a stability standpoint, and I'm right there with them. That was a super smart thing for them to do. And I'm so glad they actually did that. So in terms of the software thing, yes, like I said 100 times in this video, it ended, but I think it's for the best. I think it's totally okay that it did. And I'm not too bitter about it. If you're bitter about it, obviously you can have that opinion. Like, I'm not going to say otherwise, but I'm totally okay with this phone ending right now. And even though I can't make any more iOS videos on it or anything, I think it's okay. I think it stopped at a good point. Now, interestingly enough, if you own an iPhone 5S, you might be thinking like, oh, I need to update or whatever. I need to upgrade to like an iPhone XS or something. And I'll be honest, like, if you can keep this phone until September, I think you'll be set. Like, obviously upgrade sooner if you have the funds or whatever. But if you don't have it, or if you're kind of like not the type of person to update or whatever, I would say just wait until September, until the new iPhones come out. And then at that point, the iPhones at this point will actually get cheaper. The XS and XS Max will get cheaper in the used market. And I would just highly recommend you updating through there. Or you can always click the first link down in the description. It'll take you to the online store that I built, and that always has like all the lowest prices on Amazon. For all the iPhones, you can help support the channel that way too. But ultimately, dude, the iPhone 5S ended, but I think it's okay. And I hope that's a really good title for you guys. I hope you guys like it. And honestly, I'm not even gonna lie, I made a song about the 5S and I was gonna drop it at the end of this video, but I didn't finish it in time. So I might drop it in a mixtape that might never come out, but it might. But let me know. And it was going to be so corny. I told you guys this video is going to be corny, but if you own a 5S, let me know your experience with it in the comment section below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about it. But that's pretty much it. If you guys have any other questions or anything, leave it down in the comment section as well. Hit that like button. That'll mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it'll mean so much if you guys could hit that. Also, check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel. All those links are linked down below. I'd really appreciate it if you guys could check it out. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.